The year is 1960. Pontiac wanted to offer an all-new compact car called the Tempest, which it offered in no less than four body styles. The Tempest was originally intended to go down the same route as the Corvair, but General Motors gave Pontiac the opportunity to build an all-new car concept. Their Pontiac division was under a new chief engineer, that of John DeLorean, who would turn Pontiac into the legend it was in the 60s. The Tempest was an interesting car. Engine options included the 215 aluminum V8 engine and the trophy four-cylinder, as well as the 326 V8 after the aluminum 215 was no longer available. The transmission was mounted in the rear transaxle setup, which gave the car a nearly perfect 50-50 weight distribution. The space between the engine and the transaxle was a flexible drive shaft fed through a torque tube. It was also known as rope drive. Pontiac didn't have enough money to tool an all-new engine, so they took an existing engine, the 389 V8, and cut it down the center using the right bank angle of cylinders, which would be their starting point for their four-cylinder engine. They did tests where they cut off a bank of cylinders to the 389, and they found that the one bank of cylinders could propel a Pontiac car to 90 miles an hour while achieving decent fuel economy. The Pontiac Trophy 4 is half of their 389 V8, which means cylinder bank angle is 45 degrees, effectively making this a slant 4. Bore and stroke sizes are the same as the 389, so parts are also interchangeable. Piston rods, rings, connecting rods, around 120 parts will interchange, but it's worth mentioning there are some parts that don't interchange, like the crankshaft, camshaft, oil pans are all parts that are specific to the four-cylinder. Because this engine is literally one half of the 389 V8, the engine architecture is the same: wedge-shaped combustion chamber, 45-degree cylinder bank angle, 2 valves per cylinder that run on top in the head, alternating between intake and exhaust. Valves are operated by push rods that are cam driven. The cam is located inside the engine block. 194.5 cubic inch displacement, Pontiac Trophy 4 slant 4 overhead valve, 3.2 liters. It's good for anywhere between 110 to 166 horsepower with the power pack 4-barrel option that was offered in 1962 at 4,800 RPM. It makes anywhere between 190 to 215 pound-feet or up to 292 newton meters at 2,800 RPM with a bore of 4.06 inches and a stroke of 7.5 inches. Compression is anywhere between 8.6 to 1025 to 1. Engine dry weight, conflicting information. Some sources said 470 pounds, other sources said 557 pounds. Years this engine was used was between 1961 through 1963, and it was only found in the Pontiac Tempest. The biggest issue with the Pontiac 4, just like every other four-cylinder, was balance and vibration issues. At almost 200 cubic inch displacement, it's a pretty big four-cylinder, all things considered. 3.2 liters, it's the same displacement as the Ford Model A engine. The general rule of thumb is for larger engines of 2.5 liters generally need a balance shaft, which the Trophy 4 did not have. That's when the unique drive shaft situation came into play. It was to act as a torsional dampener. The engine was even mounted to soft rubber mounts to try to mitigate vibration. The four-cylinder would shake, rattle, and roll. It was so bad that the engine was prone to stretch and break from engine vibrations that happened over time. A special high-strength version was developed as a replacement, but Pontiac would drop the Trophy 4 altogether in 1963 when the Tempest would go from a compact car to an intermediate car. All right, now it's time for Would You Rather. Two scenarios today. In the first scenario, would you rather have a 1961 Pontiac Tempest or a 1962 Pontiac Tempest or 1963 Pontiac Tempest. I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. On to the second scenario. Out of all of the early first generation Pontiac Tempest, which body style do you like the most? Two-door coupe, the wagon, the sedan, or the convertible? Also, if you have any cool stories regarding a first generation Pontiac Tempest, leave it in the comment section. I love reading the stories. It's one of my favorite aspects of this channel. Now it's time for Name That Tune. First person to get both the name of the band and the song title correctly in the comment section will have their comment pinned to the top of it. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below. I read and answer all comments posted. I don't say that for self-worth. I just say that if you take the time to write me a comment, I will take the time to read it. If you have Facebook, you can always check out our Facebook group that correlates with this YouTube channel. If you don't have Facebook and would like to send me a personable message, shoot me an email at what_its_like@yahoo.com. Until next time, toodaloo!